On an early Friday morning, journalists from around the world boarded a bus in Tel Aviv, passing the posters crowded with the now well-known faces of hostages still missing in Gaza. En route to the Nova Festival grounds at Kibbutz Re'im, journalists discussed politics and theories about the IDF's inability to detect the threats leading to the tragedy of the October 7th massacre. 2 hours later, we arrived at the sound of dance music. Juxtaposed with a strong presence of IDF soldiers, Families Forum volunteers in their signature branded shirts, and what appeared to be a representative recreation of the Nova Festival grounds. And for the second time that morning, the hostages' portraits would greet us. Large printouts of their faces organized across the grounds, the faces of those murdered and taken staring back at us, while short clips from the tragedy that befell the festival played in the background. Walking through the forest and the field filled with pictures and tributes of those who were brutally slaughtered here just 3 months ago, you can't help but feel that you're walking not at the site of a party where the message of the Families Forum is "We will dance again," but of a cemetery. Meanwhile, the cloudy gray morning gives way to blue skies. I can't help but think of the beautiful Mediterranean weather that graced the same fields on the day of October 7th, a shining light on what would later be termed Black Sabbath, the day when some 1,200 people were raped, brutalized, maimed, and then slaughtered. 900 of whom were civilians, including children and young people, at a party meant to symbolize a hope for a peaceful future with many of the very same Gazan neighbors over the nearby fence who would later cross the border and traumatize the nation. Family members to those who were brutally murdered, family members to those who were taken hostage by Hamas into Gaza, volunteers at the Hostages and Missing Persons Families Forum, and many others coming back here to the site of the Nova Festival, which was attacked brutally by Hamas on October 7th. We're now standing in a beautiful field under a shining sun in what is essentially hallowed ground. 364 innocent civilians murdered, over 40 taken hostage on October 7th. Between and after the short biopic films, families of the hostages and the murdered recalled their experiences from that fateful day.
It's my first time being here. It's truly shivering and unbelievable to see the whole place like this. We know that 91 days ago this whole place used to be a place of joy and life and a party. But now we're here and we're seeing memorials of dead people, and all the hostages' faces are here, of course, and it's hard to see, it's hard to believe.
Amit's brother Omer and several of Omer's friends were all kidnapped from the Nova party. At the request of Omer's family on the morning of the 7th, Omer turned on his live location so that they could keep tabs on his safety and movements. When Omer's phone started in the direction of Gaza, and then he stopped answering calls, his family realized something was horribly wrong. But then, as in now, the family's feeling is that of helplessness and anxiety.
My brother is literally over there, so close, like 5 kilometers. I presume, I guess, but I can't go out and reach him or help him. This is the closest I've ever been to him. Ever since.
Other speakers expressed similar feelings, particularly in light of the widespread reports of gender-based violence and sexual assault. 21-year-old Romi Gonen, for example, was taken by Hamas from the Nova Festival after she was shot in the arm and her friends were murdered in front of her. Of the 90 women who were taken alive on that Black Sabbath, 15, including Romi, remain in captivity today. Romi's older sister Yarden says that she's been paralyzed by the events.
Every time I'm going to the bathroom or get to the shower, I get nauseated by the thought, does she get any kind of privacy? Or even there, someone is watching her, changing her clothes, getting undressed. I'm still stuck on October 7th, maybe the 8th. I can't switch days, I cannot turn the page, I can't open the new year. For my family and another 135 families, today is the 91st of October.
Meanwhile, through the pain and the unease, or perhaps even because of it, families called for more than just recognition, particularly as public focus largely shifts to the ongoing war efforts. co-founder of the family's forum, Asaf Pozniak, whose in-laws, sisters Hodaya and Ta'ir David, were murdered and then burned in the adjacent woods just meters away from where we stood, explains.
In June, I got married, and Hodaya and Ta'ir came to celebrate with me and my wife in our wedding. And I dreamt that Hodaya and Ta'ir come home, and after that, I will celebrate in their weddings. And unfortunately, that dream vanished. But I think that we are still can help to 136 hostages that kidnapped and held by Hamas in Gaza. And we would like to hear an Israeli proposal, an Israeli initiative to release all the hostages in Gaza, not just a response to Sinwar attack or Sinwar initiative. We would like to hear an Israeli proposal.
The testimonies of the hostages who came back leave no room for doubt. Every day, every minute is a danger to their lives. There are 136 hostages in Gaza. 136 coffins are no victory. They are alive and must be kept alive.
We would like to hear also about real actions of the Red Cross. They need to protect the hostages, and if they can't do so, then don't have the right to exist.
Reporting from the site of the Nova Festival at Kibbutz Re'im, I'm Aaron Porras for the Media Line.